And I seriously mean this. Anybody who I think listens to a talk show for advice for anything intelligent-wise really should read a book and take a glass of wine and just go to bed.
Hey, if you're looking for intelligent conversation, you've come to the wrong place. This is the Red and Blue Review. This is Howie Lindsey of the famed cardsports.com. And Howie, this has been, and we're going to look back on this Louisville basketball season, this is both Rick's best coaching job and his worst coaching job in the same year.
It was unbelievable. Yeah. I don't know if he could have done anything with all those injuries and everything that was going on at that point. And he mentions that it was one of his worst at Providence. Yeah. But what a remarkable season. I mean, a roller coaster is really all you can describe it as. A roller coaster of emotions, and we're going to take you every step of the way through this show.
Yeah, we're going to go from Big East to the Big Easy, and we're starting it right now with our lightning round. The lightning round on the Red and Blue Review is brought to you by the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety, who reminds you one text or call could wreck it all. Well, this basketball season for Louisville that ended up in New Orleans started in Indiana. The Cards playing on the road against Butler, a program that had just played in back-to-back national championship games.
Communication verbally, switching. We're doing some awesome things that none of my teams have been able to master this early in time. So I'm very pleased with that. The whole team's doing a great job. I don't think there's one person sticking out. I think they're all doing a great job. They're all communicating, talking, and they're playing zone great. They're playing man great. They're pressing with intelligence. They're switching properly. They're blocking out. They're doing a good job. With the exception of a few missed blockouts, we did a good job there. So it's the whole team doing a great job.
We knew that Butler wasn't going to be the team that the last couple of years, but we didn't know that they were going to be as bad as they were. You know, and so I think this set up really, really well for Louisville's preseason ranking was very, very high. This kind of lived up to that, and Louisville seemed to be clicking very well. And this was, before all those injuries started to pile up.
Yeah, and that was the game we kind of looked toward because of the great success that Butler had had in the past. We thought, well, this is going to be the first opportunity to really measure this Louisville team, but the first real measurement, once we saw how bad Butler was really going to be, a team that didn't even make the NIT, we saw it in the Vanderbilt game. And if you remember the Vanderbilt game, that was the one in which Peyton Siva hit the game-winning shot in overtime with his dad and 20,000 of his best friends watching.
I dream about it all the time, when I was a little kid. I dreamed about making game-winning layups, and a lot of people do dream about it. I'm glad, God blessed me to have a reality of it, and to make a layup, a game-winning layup against a top 25 team. It's like every kid's dream, like, oh man, I'm gonna put a picture on my wall or something.
Tell me what it was like to see that boy of yours make those shots.
It was a blessing, and I was very happy that he finished it out. I mean, I'm so used to seeing it, back in the past, but hey, it's wonderful that he's doing it in college, and just so excited right now.
This was one of those games where it just showed the reliance that Rick Pitino, the pride, the confidence really that Rick Pitino had in Peyton Siva to give him the ball and say, go to it, kid, and that's what he did. Peyton Siva, this was one of those things that most people thought, okay, he's going to build off this. Kind of had a step back after that, mid-season or so, but really turned it on again in the postseason. We saw these kind of shades of Peyton Siva again once he got all the way healthy. And this was a big game for Louisville early on in the season.
As the season wore on, Howie, Louisville had trouble closing games a lot of times. There was a lot of close losses. Why were they successful then, and then they kind of retreated from that as the season wore on?
I think he's so devastating off the bounce when he's healthy that's a very good end-of-game play. When he's not healthy, he can't really blow by his man as easily as he did in that game. So I think his health had a lot to do with that.
Louisville closed 2011 in a very disappointing way. They went on the road and got housed by the Wildcats in Rupp Arena. The score was 69-62, but it wasn't really that close. In fact, it would have been an even wider spread if Russ Smith hadn't thrown 30 in on the Wildcats.
He's the one guy that's fearless, and let's face it, he's won about 4 or 5 games for us this year. He really has. If we can just get him, I live with it. I haven't coached, I guess I coached Antoine Walker. I could live with any type of shot. I could live with that. But he's got to stop with the game on the line, stop reaching. Because could have gave up a 3 there when he went for the steal. We didn't need a steal. We need to stop the 3. So I'm just trying to get him to concentrate on defense. Offensively, just let him have his way.
Yeah, Russ Smith was absolutely a difference maker for Louisville in this game. Had 30 points, and really the rest of the team had about 30 points.
Yeah.
So had it not been for Russ Smith, it would have been a huge margin. He was the one guy who was fearless, and when you go into Rupp Arena, you'd think that the Cats being so young and being part of this rivalry, but because it was at home, I mean, they felt right at home. For Louisville, the more experienced team, that Rupp Arena crowd was big, and Russ Smith was about the only guy playing ball.
And at this point in the season, we still didn't know what we had out of the Louisville program, because at that point they played most of their games at home. The 2 games they played on the road, a win at Butler and now a loss at Kentucky. But Rick Pitino was confident even that loss at Rupp would prove beneficial in 2012.
We felt it was a winnable game, not because we don't respect for Kentucky, but we knew we were going to be in the game. We knew we'd fight back. But they're very, very good. It's a tough environment to play in. This is like Las Vegas was great for. This is awesome for us to play in this environment, because you're not going to see, Pitt is good, Syracuse is good, those environments, but this is one of the premier environments in basketball. And if you can fight tooth and nail, come out, you'll know what the road is all about. So it's great. I don't want to do it too many times. I don't want to go home and home in the same year, but it's good for us.
It certainly was good for Louisville in terms of also measuring themselves against one of the best. I think that this Louisville team felt pretty good about itself going into December, and I had the comments from Shane Bohannon about we're not going to lose again and that kind of thing. And I think that early, late December, early January stretch really kind of reframed their focus.
Yeah.
It said, okay, maybe we're not as good as we thought we were. We've got to get back to work. And I think Rick Pitino, you don't want to lose those games, but certainly he got his team's focus back during that stretch of games.
Well, 10 days into the new year, it felt like Louisville had slipped back 10 decades. They went to Providence and had the most heartless game I've seen a Rick Pitino coached team ever play. They got beat 90-59 by Providence. And coming out of that game, Rick Pitino said he only had 2.5 shooters on this team, and that's not enough to win.
I've known our problems from day one. I said it from day one. We were going to miss Preston's shooting. There was no question about it. But we are concentrating on developing more of an inside attack to develop that. We're not quite the three-point threat that we once were, but you have to change.
We mentioned near the top of the show about Rick Pitino's best coaching job, which was that magical run in the postseason, and maybe one of his worst, which is what he actually termed this Providence game. In the postseason, he kind of looked back at the season, and he talked about the Providence game as being one of those where he just said, we were so far down and so much foul trouble and nothing was going right that he said he just quit coaching in the second half. He's like, what do you do? It was just one of those nights where nothing went right, and this was absolutely a low point for Louisville. It was one of those games where he mentioned it probably 100 times after this, because it was so important for him to go back to Providence on the 25th anniversary, and they had honored it. They were supposed to honor him at halftime and didn't get a chance to. I can't tell you how many times the players mentioned it, so their coach did. The players kept talking about, we didn't give that to our coach. He earned that, and we took it away from him, and we have to repay him by making a postseason run, which they did.
Howie, very seldom will you see a team lose on the road by 30 and make it to a Final Four.
Wow.
What turned around in that 2-month stretch?
I think part of it was just how bad everything went wrong against Providence. I think the other part of it was this team recognized that they don't have just the, roll the ball out there, or they're going to go to a Final Four kind of talent. I think it was also a coming together because you had so many guys injured that they started thinking, all right, we're all that's left. We have to come together and do this ourselves. And they did. It was remarkable to see the team come together, gel together, and make that final push.
As Louisville approached the basketball season in February and Valentine's Day, we started discovering this team had heart. They knocked off a West Virginia team 77-74. They were on a 6-game win streak, and Rick says the reason they were rolling is simple. They were finally getting a chance to practice.
I think we're winning because we've had time to keep a unit together and practice and execute. I think we're winning and because sometimes we're executing better due to practice, where we made some mistakes where we missed free throws, and then on the winning streak we made free throws. So I think also by practice the players are improving dramatically. Gorky, Shane, Jared, Russ, Kevin are all improving because of practice time. Peyton.
It was amazing to see the transformation once these guys started coming together and could practice all together, how much better they started to get. Later in the season, they made that big run to get themselves in the NCAA tournament, and this was part of that. Had they not had this West Virginia game, had they not had a couple more like it, you know, they may not have had that postseason run because they may not have been in position to be there. It was telling to me after this game that Bob Huggins said, Louisville, you know, it's amazing that they let them be that physical on the press. This is Bob Huggins,
yeah,
who has one of the most physical teams you'll ever meet on any planet. They are extremely brutal. And for him to say that Louisville was more physical than his team and too physical, that's when you know that this Louisville team had a little something special.
The whiplash ride that was this basketball season for the Cardinals continued as they headed into February and toward March. The Cards got on a losing skid at the end of the season that culminated with a loss at Syracuse, 58-49, in which Louisville missed 21 of 21 threes. And again, Rick said the problem is we ain't got any shooters.
It's going to come down to, you know, it's always been that way. If you have shooters on the perimeter, they're going to knock down the shots. If you don't have shooters on the perimeter, it's going to be difficult to make shots. You know, Russ Smith is good in a wide-open game. He's not a good spot-up shooter. He's not a good three-point shooter.
And this was that last stretch of games where Louisville, you know, they lost 4 or 6. They weren't looking all that hot. The thought was, yeah, they're going to be in the NCAA tournament, but just how far can they go? And, you know, the negativity was really strong outside of the program. In talking with the players after this postseason run, the negativity wasn't there inside the program.
That's interesting.
And that's what the key was. I mean, outside the program, you had everybody saying, oh, it's going to be another one-and-done year. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. Inside the program, they're thinking, we just played one of the toughest teams you'll ever find in South Florida. They're brutally tough. And Syracuse, who was the #1 seed. And they still had the confidence. And because they had the confidence, they're able to make that run after that.
Well, so here we stand. We're at the end of the regular season, and this Louisville bunch is clearly a bunch of underachievers, but they're going to hit a postseason run, which they become overachievers. What was the difference? We'll talk about that when we come back, but as we head to the break, nobody achieved more than Kentucky did, and Daryl Bird and the Cats Paws has put together a recap of the season. It's called Celebrate, and you can order one at magazinecatspaws.com.
Allstate Ford, 7-time recipient of Ford Motor Company's President's Award for Customer Satisfaction, with 13 Ford certified service technicians and a best-in-class parts department. Business or personal, we are the truck experts. Allstate Ford, on the Waterson at Poplar Level Road.
It's Chevy Truck Month, and now is the time to get your new truck. Bachman has more Chevy trucks than any other dealer, all at fantastic prices. You'll get every Chevy incentive plus exclusive Bachman discounts during Chevy Truck Month. Tremendous selection of Silverados and every dependable Chevy truck. Plus, you save more during Chevy Truck Month with exclusive Bachman discounts. All Chevrolets are created equal. Bachman makes the difference.
I was on top of the world, but now I'm below it. I had everything going for me, then I had to blow it. My dreams, hopes, and aspirations were all in the grip of my hand, but alcohol caught my attention, and now it's in command.
Allison at lunch today? I'm gonna text her. I'm gonna text Allison. Hey, hold up, Matt's calling me. Hey, we got the food and we're on our way right now. Hey, who's coming, bro?
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour card is available now. Play 8 great courses for one amazing price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. Hurry, they won't last long.
So I'm very disappointed in the loss. It meant a lot to us to win all our home games. We didn't get the job done. I'll take 2 questions. I'm getting out of here.
Welcome back to the Red and Blue Review. Big East versus Big Easy is what this season turned into. So, Howie, let's reset where we are. Louisville has just run through the regular season, a very disappointing regular season, and now they go to New York, and somehow they get on a surprising run that takes them all the way to the Big East Championship. How do you be that bad in the regular season, and a week later, you're the champions of New York?
It was one big, bold statement by Rick Pitino. He came out after that regular season and said, listen, guys, it was my fault about the South Florida thing and the Syracuse thing, and we tried to play slow down ball. We are going to New York City, and we're going to bring home a trophy.
Yeah.
And when he said it, the media folks were like, whoa.
What you talking about, Lewis?
What did he just say? And I think even his players were like, wow, okay. And he had such confidence, and that translated to his team, and they did it. 4 games in 4 days against 4 NCAA tournament teams and brought home the trophy in a way that I don't think anybody thought that they could do it. It was absolutely a remarkable run up in New York City.
So that win put Louisville in the NCAA tournament as the 4 seed out west. Howie jumps on a plane and heads to Portland with the Cards, where they have a date with Davidson. And in that game, Davidson proved to be feisty. Cards won it 69-62. Kyle Couric and Peyton Siva were very proud that their team was now playing with confidence.
It was a good win. We're proud of it, but we still got more goals than that. We still got a couple games going ahead, and we got to refocus.
What did you say? I don't think anybody focused on that. I mean, we've been through it before. What's the worst that could happen? So I think everybody was just worried about, just focus on Davidson, not really looking down the bracket, just focus on Davidson one game at a time.
This was one of those games that removed 2 years of frustration from Louisville's back. I mean, this was one of those games where the weight was lifted. All right, you're past the first round, now what's possible? And you could see it in the players' eyes in that locker room. They were thinking, oh, all right, we got that over with, now let's move on. And what a cool feeling it was for them to start thinking, okay, what's possible now? We could go to the Sweet 16. We could go to the Final Four. We could go to, we could win the whole thing. And you could see that kind of spark start rolling right after that Davidson game.
But before they could get rolling real well, they had a very tough opponent in a surprising New Mexico team. Now, a lot of folks just said that's going to be a step over win for Louisville if you're just going by brand names. But these were 2 very evenly matched teams. Cards won it 59-56, and Chris Smith says it took a team effort.
I think everybody played a great game. It was a total team effort, and Gorgie Jang on the backboard did a tremendous job. Shane played great and strong down low. Cal knocked the shots down. Peyton, got people the ball. Everybody, Wayne got in, mixed it up. Dove on the floor, got us a loose ball steal. Everybody just played, played within themselves and came out on top.
I talked to a guy after this game, and granted he was from the West Coast, but he said, listen, had Louisville not won this game, New Mexico could have beat Michigan State.
Wow.
That's how talented this New Mexico team was. And after seeing them in person, had he told me that before the game, I'd been like, oh, come on.
Right.
But after seeing them in person, they were big, they're physical, they had a great low post presence, they had big guards. This was a very tough New Mexico team and a big confidence builder for Louisville. This was one of those games where they knew they had to fight tooth and nail, and their bigs had to come up big, and they certainly did.
Every piece of that confidence won in the New Mexico game would be currency for the next game against number 1 seeded Michigan State. Now, everybody knows Tom Izzo's teams are tough to beat once they hit March, but the Cards absolutely pulled them apart. The Spartans were smarting after Louisville knocked them off 57-44. Tom Izzo said it was all about Peyton Siva.
I still think Siva, their point guard, is the guy who stirs the drink. He gets everybody else involved. He gets the penetration. He causes the problems. He gives them the drop-offs or the open threes. So, I mean, even though it is very balanced, I would agree that they are as balanced a team as we've played. But I also think it still comes down to they got a quarterback that really runs everybody, and every receiver gets some passes, gets some shots because of it.
Peyton Siva had a tremendous postseason, but this game was all about Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino outcoached Tom Izzo. He had a better game plan than Tom Izzo. His guys were better prepared than Tom Izzo's guys. Louisville was not as talented as Michigan State, but beat the pants off of them. I mean, just absolutely beat them up and down the court, beat them to loose balls, beat them in terms of toughness, in terms of physicality, which you never see. I mean, that's what Michigan State's known for, is toughness, physicality, game planning. And Louisville absolutely beat them up and down the court. This was the game, along the line I could see, Louisville could beat Florida. Louisville could beat New Mexico. This was the game that I didn't think they could get past. Right. And that was the game that I think shocked all of college basketball.
Another shock was on the way out in Phoenix when Louisville took on Florida. The Florida Gators looked like they were ready to step in New Orleans, a commanding lead over the Cardinals. Peyton Siva sitting on the bench, fouled out of the ball game, but somehow Rick Pitino pulled another one of his patented comebacks, a 72-68 win over Florida. The Cards once again motivated by being the underdog.
We always going as the underdog. Nobody thinks we're ever win, so except probably our parents. So as long as we take care of our business, follow the instructions, we should be fine. That doesn't really bother us.
Now that people know we're capable of doing, why lay down now? We got close to the Final Four in a championship game. I don't see a point in laying down now. Just go out there and play.
These guys were absolutely motivated by being the underdog for most of this postseason. It was a chip on their shoulder, a boulder-sized chip. And when those rankings, when the Vegas things came out and it said that Florida was a favorite, I'm sure Rick Pitino's eyes lit up. He's like, yes, this is what I needed. And he, I don't know if he discusses those kind of things with his players, but he certainly mentioned to them that they were not the favorite in this game. And for Florida to be a lower-seeded team and Louisville to not be the favorite, and he played that up, and Louisville absolutely performed. They were so far down and came all the way back, and what a remarkable comeback. Just to be there on the court in Phoenix as they're cutting down those nets and seeing the embrace between Tom Jurich and Rick Pitino and Rick and his family and Richard and Rick. The Richard and Rick hug seemed like it lasted 3 minutes. Yeah. Those guys to be on the same coaching staff together and go to the Final Four, and it wouldn't have happened except for that wild comeback that was led by Russ Smith, for goodness sakes, when Peyton Siva was on the bench.
This basketball season, word of movie, would have ended right there with the Cards trimming the nets in Phoenix. Instead, they loaded up and headed to New Orleans, where they would face a rematch against the #1 overall seed, the Kentucky Wildcats. The same team that ended Louisville's 2011 on New Year's Eve would end this magical run in March with a convincing and a little bit closer than perhaps the final score might indicate win in New Orleans in the national semifinal.
What I told them is, we're on the podium of the Olympics and not playing our national anthem, but we got a medal around our neck. So I'm really, really proud of them. Just like I said, the '87 team, it's the highest compliment I could ever give a team because it's people and effort. We had a lot of shortcomings this year because of the injuries and the way we shoot the ball, but our effort was off the charts. Real proud of the guys. They need some time off now to just enjoy it.
Every Louisville fan should be proud of this team's effort, bronze medal, whatever. This team made a Final Four and a remarkable postseason run.
When we come back, we'll tell you who was the difference maker for the surprise run from the Big East to the Big Easy when we come back on the Red and Blue Review. As we head to the break, Howie will want me to tell you to go to CardinalSports.com for the latest on your favorite team.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, stop by Allstate Ford and test drive a new Edge or Explorer. Or visit us online at allstatetrucks.com. Allstate Ford on the Watterson at Poplar Level Road.
It's Chevy Truck Month, and now is the time to get your new truck. Bachman has more Chevy trucks than any other dealer, all at fantastic prices. You'll get every Chevy incentive plus exclusive Bachman discounts during Chevy Truck Month. Tremendous selection of Silverados and every dependable Chevy truck. Plus, you save more during Chevy Truck Month with exclusive Bachman discounts. All Chevrolets are created equal. Bachman makes the difference.
I was on top of the world, but now I'm below it. I had everything going for me. Then I had to blow it. My dreams, hopes, and aspirations were all in the grip of my hand. But alcohol caught my attention, and now it's in command.
Did you see Allison at lunch today? I'm gonna text her. I'm gonna text Allison. Hey, hold up, Matt's calling me. Matt's calling me. Hey, we got the food and we're on our way right now. Hey, who's coming, bro? You're the one who needs help.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card is available now. Play 8 great courses for one amazing price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. Hurry, they won't last long.
The difference maker this year from the Big Easy to the Big East Championship for the Louisville Cardinals was the one consistent piece, Rick Pitino. Now think about it. He started out with a team ranked number 4 in the nation, had a bunch of injuries, had a lot of dissension in the community about the coaching job he had, yet Rick pulled this team together and got them back to a Final Four. Thanks for joining us here on the Red and Blue Review, Big East to Big Easy.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card featuring Chariot Run, Bardstown Country Club at Maywood, Rosewood Country Club, Indian Springs, Cave Valley Golf Resort, The Falls Golf Resort, The Bull, and Stonecrest Golf Course is available now. Get your golf tour card and play 8 great courses with cart for one low price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. You can play anytime, but you must get your golf tour card now.